And I also think it's funny that, like, all of this started off with someone saying that Nanu copies PP, but now it's that everyone else copies
everyone
Nanu.
else is copying
so
Nanu.
is it actually that everyone's copying PP? Like, I don't understand.
Hi everyone, welcome to LoveCast, the BL podcast. I am your host, Alexa, and I have my fellow hosts, Kayla and Pixie, with me today.
Hey.
So today we are coming back with one of our popular series that we do here on the podcast. We are doing a catching up with the BL fandom. And there is a lot to catch up on today. We have a lot of pretty intense topics that have a lot going into them. So I think we're going to have a pretty long discussion with this one. So everyone get ready to get into it with us. Yeah. It's honestly, a lot of the topics in today's discussions, I feel like, touch on themes that could have their own full-length episodes. And like Kayla and I did our best to research and then summarize it into a shorter discussion for the sake of this episode. But if you guys do want to see full episodes dedicated to like any of these themes that we're going to touch on in today's discussion, let us know, because we could definitely make some full-length episodes on some of the themes that are coming up in today's topics.
Yes.
And also let us know if you want to see more of catching up with the BL fandom next season. This will be our last one of this year because we're getting to the end of the season. But I feel like this has by far been like our most top popular series that we've done on the podcast.
Definitely.
So
I appreciate these because I have been so busy. I have not caught up with what is happening at all. So this is you guys updating me.
Yeah, there's always that one chronically offline person who, and there have been people who have commented saying like, I don't have other social media, so I don't know about these things. So if you want this to be a more routine thing next season, let us know, and let us know how often you'd like to see us do it, because we're starting to plan for season 6 of LoveCast, which is crazy to say. So let us know what you want to see in terms of this series next year. But let's get into it. I don't know. Like I said, I don't even know where to start. I think we should save, most of this stuff is pretty negative / heavy. So I think we should save the one that's like lighter hearted till the end and just get through the heavier stuff first. But I don't know where we want to start with that.
Happier note.
Yeah.
But
I mean, I can start. I mean, I know the episode is catching up with the BL fandom, but I can start with the big GL thing that we have to talk about, because things were intense in the GL fandom the past couple of days, all centering around casting in a series from a production company that I hadn't heard of before. I think they're a smaller production company. They're called BDLMD Productions. And earlier this week on the 5th, they kind of came under fire after posting stills from an upcoming GL project featuring a 25-year-old actress named Pun and a 16-year-old actress named Eileen. The photo, which has since been deleted, showed a moment where one character was kind of like squishing the other character's cheeks. They were very close to each other, and notably the tweet used the hashtag #PunEileen, which we know in this genre typically insinuates a ship. And that caused a lot of concern over the idea of the show casting a minor and an adult in a romantic relationship and in the show and promoting them as a GL ship. So the fandom obviously reacted very negatively to this, and pretty shortly after that, the older actress Pun quickly spoke up, and she tweeted that, you know, the idea of an adult minor relationship was also a concern of hers, and it was something she'd been saying since the beginning. And she said, like, we're waiting to see how it all turns out. And then she said she only sees Eileen as a sister, talking about the actress herself. Fans didn't really I wouldn't say they didn't take kindly to it, but they were still kind of like, that doesn't really answer our questions or kind of address what we're concerned about here. So the next day, the company released a statement stating that the characters in the series only share a sisterly relationship and that the series doesn't feature any adult minor relationships. That was, they said more about it in relation to like some other series they were tweeting or are producing, but they didn't address the whole hashtag pun Eileen thing. And so fans kind of largely saw it as a cop-out basically, and just assumed the company was backtracking after receiving the backlash. And then last night, the actress Pun, the older actress, tweeted again, apologizing for her previous post, making it seem like she was taking the situation kind of lightly. And she said she also realized that even if the series isn't necessarily going to have an adult minor romantic relationship, she realizes that using a couple hashtag for the actresses and promoting them as a couple in any form is wrong. So that's kind of where we're at. The company has not said anything else since that one statement that they put out. They deleted like the still that they had posted. I think fans are still not really... The actress, I think, who came out and apologized, they gave her some grace and were like, hey, we appreciate you recognizing what's going on. But the company itself, I think, didn't really comment on the heart of the issue. And so I don't know that fans are really fucking with them right now. They didn't really say anything beyond like, hey, this is just going to be a sisterly relationship. And that was pretty much it.
But even that, like putting it up as like a sisterly relationship, why are we even like putting spotlight on stuff like that?
If like, I don't understand if they're like, whether that means like actual sisters or just like she sees this person as an older sister,
or the older one is grooming the younger one. Like,
the weird thing is the couple hashtag.
It's Twilight all over again.
Yeah, I think the weird thing is the couple hashtag, because if there was no intention of promoting them as a couple, then why do you need a couple hashtag for them?
Why put the picture out there? Why do any of those things? I just, my problem here is that it's so tone deaf that I just don't understand why they would even do that. Like, obviously someone saw this and were like, oh, this is cute, let's like promote this, and we're like shipping, like no one, the person who put that out were shipping them. That there's no other explanation for it.
Yeah, that's how they wanted it to be taken, with the way the photo was posted and the hashtags and stuff like that. So
there's no doubt about that. And them just like putting out an apology that isn't really an apology, and it's just like you said, it's a cop out. I don't, this is not like, I won't put any blame on the actress. I think like she was doing her job. Someone else framed this as a shipping thing and it wasn't her. So, and she's at least said something, but the company, like, no.
There was also that Guess the Couple video that they put out.
Yes,
like, it wasn't just the photo. They put out a Guess the Couple video where like it was like, oh, guess which one of these like pairings are together, guess what ship is
actually
together,
the pairing.
And so they were in that too. So I just think the company's lying, to be honest. Like, I think they were like, oh shit, people don't like this, and they were like, we need to change something right now because no one's gonna watch the show.
Yeah, everything else they did pointed to they wanted to promote those two as a couple. And it also, like, I know oftentimes when these things come up, people say, oh, it's only international fans who are worried about this. It was not.
No,
It was Thai
no.
GL fans. It was
Yeah.
international GL fans. Like, everyone found this weird, and
Mm-hmm.
everyone was speaking out against it. So they felt like they had to backtrack basically and say, "Oh, it's not going to be a romantic relationship," when it feels like that was very much initially the intention.
Mm-hmm. No, it's giving me ick. Like, that's
Yeah.
just, that's, ugh. Yeah, no.
Yeah. And there's also been, like, I have not seen people talking about this one as much, but Kongtop Productions is producing a GL series with Ormson and Folk called Lovebound. And apparently the third couple in that features a 17-year-old paired with a 20-year-old, which obviously is a smaller age gap, but is still an adult and a minor. And this one is definitely based on what I've seen, like, being promoted as a ship. And so I have not, maybe people just don't know, have not paid attention to that production as
Yeah,
much, but
maybe.
I just happened to see that in the comments, like, of this, like, BDLMD, such a hard acronym for me to say, of their drama, and someone commented on this one as well and was like, yeah, this one also, like, features a very young actress and an adult.
I don't understand why they keep hiring such young actresses for shows that are very, very clearly about romantic relationships. Like, you
And
can't.
adult romantic relationships.
Right.
Like, these are
That's
not, like, it's not a
what
high
it
school
is.
romance. Like,
Yeah. And that's like, I'll give GMMTV some credit there. For the most part, they put like really old, not like not old in that way, but old people for their roles. Like, they put almost 30-year-olds in roles as like 16-year-olds at least. Like, they're using older people to play younger roles, so at least like they're not taking advantage of young people. And I can imagine someone that young is like really excited about doing a show and getting the part and all of that, but we know that people that young aren't like mature enough to like there's been questions about child actresses in the industry as a whole. Like, they get used a lot, and
and
it's
it's
not
also,
healthy.
it's harder for them to advocate for themselves, and they don't have as much agency and things like that. So yeah, there are reasons why, like, certain laws around, like, children actors exist, because of that kind of stuff that happens, like you said, industry wide, in every industry, really.
Yeah, and in an industry that is so like wrought with manipulation and just a lot of bad stuff happening, and just imagining minors caught up in that. Like, we've heard stories about actors in the past and the be elsewhere who have gone off the rails because they starred in shows too young.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was, like, when people were talking about this in our Discord server, there was kind of this question being posed: did the popularity of Blank, which was the series last year that in the fictional, like, in the show fictionally, the character was like a 15-year-old girl, and it was like her mom's 30-something-year-old best friend that they had a romantic relationship with. And like, in this case, the actresses were of age, but like the fictional relationship was
Questionable.
grooming, predatory, illegal.
Yeah.
And so people were like, that show was so popular. Like, is stuff like that normalizing these types of relationships and making companies think, okay, if people will watch it fictionally, maybe they won't care about watching it with the actual actresses either. If
This could
that
be
makes
a
sense.
really big discussion, because
Right, that's what I'm saying.
I have some really, really, like, I've thought about this a lot. I've seen a lot of videos of other people talking about stuff like this. And I'm on the side of fiction is fiction. People know it's fiction. It's a cop out to say that, oh, they like this fictional storyline, so they must like it in real life. No, that's not how the world works. So yeah, I think it's an easy way to try and for someone to try and explain why they did something incredibly stupid and tone deaf, but it's just an excuse.
At the same time, when you see something continuously normalized in the media, do you think that it subliminally affects you in a way and warps your perception of things?
I'm not sure. I will say this: if you look at, I've seen a lot of war movies. I wouldn't be susceptible to go into a war and not be affected by that because I've seen it on the screen so many times. Like, you've seen people die on TV screens. It's not gonna change how you react to someone actually dying in real life. You don't get the I don't know what the words for it, like censored. Your mind gets kind of censored for what is happening.
Desensitized.
Yeah, desensitized. Which is an argument, and maybe like Shrink can talk about this better than me, but from my point of view, like from what I've seen, and it's like saying that if you play video games you're gonna be violent because you're desensitized to violence through the video games. I've been playing very violent video games all my life. I will never touch again in real life, right? So there's probably a lot of studies on this.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a topic that comes up a lot in relation to different types of media. I think it's interesting to think about it from the perspective of, like, how does a company view what gets popular, and like how does that influence like what they produce or what they choose to do. But yeah, it's definitely like, I don't know, like you said, like this is why I'm saying like so many topics in today's episode could have full-length episodes of their own, because I feel like we could talk about this for a long time. But yeah, it's just, I feel sorry for the young actresses more than anything. They're the true people who are getting...
There's no win for them in this situation at all.
Yeah. So, yeah. Well, I don't know what's going to happen with this show, but I don't think people will be watching it. That's for sure.
Probably not.
I hope not. If they... Whatever they choose to do with their relationship, I don't think people are going to buy into it at this point. So, yeah.
I agree.
Okay. So, Oat, who you may know from the series My Stubborn, has been facing a ton of backlash for some things that he said during a TikTok live stream. So if you aren't aware, he and Boat have an upcoming Omegaverse series called Not. And on this particular live stream, his friend, who is like off camera, you can't see any of his friends in the live, he mentions that Oat was up until like 4 a.m. filming this series. And he was like, what is the series even about? Like, what is your new series about? And so Oat is sitting there like with all his friends. And he's trying to explain the concept of Omegaverse in like the simplest terms possible for like all these locals, like who would not even know, who've never heard of it.
Yeah, you cannot explain Omegaverse in simple terms.
Yeah, so he ended up comparing the concept of Omegaverse to dogs mating. And like the bond that I guess like that creates or whatever. And so he says this, and his friends like kind of laugh, and he goes on to like try to explain it more. He's like, yeah, in this like universe, men can get pregnant. It's like a Y series. And then one of his friends actually says that they ended up watching one of the BL series that Oat was promoting, which presumably was My Stubborn, and they said that they got hooked on it and couldn't stop watching it because they said that there was just like something about like that genre like that really hooks you in as an outsider like watching it. That will be important in a second with something I have to say later. Okay, so this discussion this thing that his friend says prompts Oat to bring up the NC scenes in the show because like the show is pretty infamous for having a lot of NC scenes. And he says that most people get hooked on BL because of the NC scenes. So that's all he says. Okay? So the reason this went viral in a bad way is because an Oat anti clipped the part where he's describing the Omegaverse as dogs mating. And they were like, look, he's saying that like gay sex is like dogs mating. And so now everyone believes that Oat said something homophobic based on an out of context clip that a hater posted. And people are also unhappy with how he said that most people get hooked on the shows because of the NC scenes. Yeah. And this is where, like, I really have to, like, clear the air because I keep seeing people saying that he used the phrase BL girlies and that he specifically said BL girls like NC scenes. I watched the whole live. I even watched it after his friends leave and he's just like talking about his day. He never mentions gender. He never mentions gender. He says people. There is a part whenever he is like trying to explain like the Y series world to his friend where he says, yeah, like the Omegaverse is an example of like a fantasy world. And he says it's a Sao Y world. Like it's the Sao Y world. Which I guess Sao Y is like the equivalent of like saying Fujoshi in a way.
Yeah.
That's what I've gathered. Yeah. So that is the only time that he like used that phrase. People are saying that he like said like Sao Y in reference to like the Sao Y like to watch NC scenes. He never says that. He says people.
I mean, yeah.
But yeah, so I guess at the worst with this aspect, he's making a generalization about what BL fans like or what people who watch BL like.
Yeah. And I mean, from the outside, it's not an unfair generalization. A lot of people think that. Like, a lot of people. And we know that some people do watch BL only for the more risque scenes. And that's fine, you do you, boo. But it is a harmful generalization we've seen, and we've talked about this a lot. It's very unfair to everyone that watches BL to generalize them as only there for the sexual parts. And as an actor in BL, like, he should know this more about this, but at the same time he came from a show that was heavily focused on the sexual scenes, which is one of the reasons why I really hated that show. So I mean, fair that he thinks that, but also, I mean, you can't criticize him for saying that. I think he should have known better. At the same time, I don't know. It's kind of unfair to make him explain Omegaverse when he doesn't understand it. Because saying that it's dogs mating is wild to me.
Yeah, in that aspect, I think he was trying to explain it in a way that I guess his friends who are not at all involved in the world would understand. But it is like...
It's literally wolf habits. It's made up of the research that wolves has alpha and omegas and stuff like, which is wrong, by the way. The research was debunked a long time ago, but Omegaverse was started because of wolves and their habits.
Yeah. I think it does suck that it got taken out of context.
Yeah,
and
I
like,
don't think that's fair. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm sure Kayla is going to talk more about this, about all the consequences that have happened because of that clip getting taken out of context. But yeah, I think the biggest grievance here, in my personal opinion, is the generalization of people who watch BL media. And it is important that he didn't specify just the girls,
Gender.
even though
Yeah.
like, yeah, I do appreciate that, like, because I didn't know like that part, that he had just said people in general. But the generalization of people in general, yeah, it is kind of a shady thing to say. Like, most people are drawn into this media for the NC scenes.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, in this day and age, I think a lot of BL fans are, like we said, trying to push back against that generalization. So I can understand why fans found frustration with that. And I think, you know, if people are already frustrated with him, that can be something that alienates a portion of your audience.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, it kind of sucks when you realize, like, the context of why people were frustrated with him to begin with was taken out of context, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. So another thing that some Thai fans pointed out, or people are saying that Thai fans pointed out, I should say, are that I guess some of the words he used were quote harsh, or maybe not harsh is not the word, but blunt. Some people were saying the actual verbiage he used was, I don't even know what that means, to be honest. I'm not sure about that part. He posted a written apology on November 2nd, where he basically apologized for making people uncomfortable with his words. He says that he acknowledges what he said and that it was inappropriate, and that he'll try to express himself carefully next time. So pretty much what you would expect. And then that apology didn't go over well. So on the 3rd, his company, M-Flow Entertainment, released a statement saying that they're aware of the incident and they take it seriously, and they say that they already reprimanded him. And no one took that well. So on November 6th, M-Flow posted a video apology of Oat, where he's basically reiterating the same things but in video form. And then I guess some of the final updates as of when we're recording this is, you know, during this time, Oat posted an Instagram story that kind of scared a lot of people. There was just like words on a black screen, and he said, "This is the end." And his fan meet with Boat was postponed until further notice. And the event that they just went to, I believe it was the iQiyi one, he was like crying the whole time. Like just crying. So that's pretty much, from what I've seen, the updates on the situation. But yeah, it's been like the biggest story, I would say, in BL right now.
Right after things started blowing up, like, Boat posted a tweet that was just a white heart and a peace sign, and fans read into that a lot, meaning like, oh, like it's the end kind of thing. Like, but I mean, they premiered the pilot for their series at the iQiyi thing that just happened on the 7th, which was yesterday. So for me, it feels like M-Flow is trying really, really hard to, I hate to use the word placate, but placate the fandom as much as they can, because they still want to move forward with this series. I'm guessing they probably put a lot into it already, considering, you know, how much they were promoting this as like the first real Omegaverse series in Thai BL. So I think they're really trying to do like anything they can to, there was Pit Babe shade there, that very clear Pit Babe shade there, and they very much had the first real Omegaverse.
Yeah,
like that
right.
was the whole thing they were going on. But I think they're really trying to just like do everything they can to soothe this over, and then I feel like this is literally just me personally, like there's nothing that indicated this, but I have a feeling they're gonna have them lay very, very low for a while, and then once the series is in production, kind of see where things are from there. But it feels like they're trying to just throw everything they can right now to just kind of emphasize that they're trying to apologize and kind of lessen those consequences that they're currently facing. And my thought is, like, if they're going this far, like, I'm wondering if they're having issues behind the scenes as well, like in terms of like sponsorships and things like that, because we 100%. Rarely see companies go written apology, company statement, 100%. Video apology. Like, I don't know if a company's ever done that before. So I have a feeling there's a lot more going on behind the scenes that they're trying to make up for, if that makes sense.
Okay. What I think about this situation is that I think mostly the blame should be on the company, because why haven't they media trained their actor in this very, very simple thing? I have, like, when they talk like that in casually and think it's okay, it's usually because the culture within the company talk like that. And MFlow is known for having shows that are mostly focused on sexual scenes and not as much the plot. But a lot of the time, the reason why actors talk like this is because it's a culture within the company to talk like that. They're repeating what they hear around them, which makes them think it's okay.
Yeah, honestly, I think most actors could use more media training. So he's definitely not the only one. And I was thinking, when you were saying harsh language, like, obviously I don't speak Thai, so I can't speak on that for sure. But a lot of people were saying, like, it's the way guys talk when they're with their bros, you know, like, that's what they meant by
locker room talking.
Basically,
dude, we know it's 2025, we know better.
Like, if you're gonna be on a live with all of your friends watching, so I think media training as a whole is always a good rule of thumb, because we've seen this happen with multiple actors where they just say things out of pocket or do things out of pocket. But I don't know how. People are really angry, so I'm not sure how this is going to go over.
There was also, this is going back to what I wanted to touch on with his friends, but there was also a lot of talk that his friends were mocking him and, like, making fun of him in the live. I didn't see that. I didn't interpret that at all. It seems like they were just like curious, like, oh, okay. I don't know. I didn't get, that didn't come across to me at all.
Yeah, it does sound a little bit from what you're telling that people are sort of trying to reach out and catch every little thing that happens and make it sound like it's just worse and worse and worse. I think the generalization about people who watches BL is bad enough to make this bad. I don't think, like, you need to clamp onto every other little detail and micro analyze the live and everything to find everything he did wrong. That's yeah, he definitely misspoke in that case, and, like, it just points to the broader thing we talked about the generalizations about BL fans only really caring about NC scenes. And even though there is, like, I think a large portion of people who are the most invested in NC scenes, it's just like, it's not everyone. And also, I kind of don't care if people only care about NC scenes. Yeah, right. That's what I'm thinking too. As long as they're not, like, doing anything to hurt anyone, I'm just like, you do you. If you like the sexual stuff and just watch for that, fine. It's views. It will bring money to the shows. But, like, most of us, BL shows have gotten better in the last couple of years because BL fans have high expectations of the plot and everything happening. It's not just about the pairing or the sexual scenes. So,
yeah, it's just it's a lot. There's a lot going on. I would be lying if I said I didn't feel a little bad for him. Just because I know so much of it has been taken out of context, and so much has just been kind of like, I don't want to say like made up, but like very exaggerated. Like, I was expecting to sit down and watch this live, and he's like saying all this crazy shit. And I watched it and I was just like, okay, what part was offensive? I don't know. I also think I don't know enough about Omegaverse to really like delve into that part, because like I heard him say that and I was like, I think that makes sense to describe it like that to people who don't know,
to someone who doesn't know.
Maybe it's not. Maybe that's not a good way. I have no idea.
Yeah, I cringe. I cringe of that explanation, but at the same time, I wouldn't hold it against anyone that they explained it like that. It's just obvious that they don't understand the genre.
Yeah.
But that's fair.
Yeah.
It's a weird one. We all Omegaverse people who love that, they know it's weird. So in the best possible way, okay? I love Omegaverse.
It kind of goes back to what you said about like the culture at the company, though. Like, I think if they really explained it, like they really explained the concept of Omegaverse, then he would have a better way to describe it. But it seems like he doesn't fully understand it.
Yeah. Do you,
like in its entirety? So I don't know.
Do you remember when there was this whole discussion about MPreg and Omegaverse and stuff like that, if it should be on screen? Copter, they talked about it, and all of that. Yeah. Now we're here, and I just like, after that discussion and everyone's reaction online after that, I just think like the company should know better than to like not really train their actors to understand the sensitivity of the topic. Because we know, like, are you gonna do this? You need to be sensitive about it, because there are worries about showing this stuff on screen, and there have been very valid points made against not doing it. Which is why I guess Pit Babe didn't. But yeah. Again, I'm just blaming it on the company, honestly.
Honestly, like, the main thing is the clip that got taken out of context. Like, that's what exploded the whole thing. And sure, it maybe wouldn't have been an issue if he had better terms to explain like what he was trying to explain to his friends. But even today, like, I saw the Twitter post about like the pilot for the show, and like someone had quote tweeted it with that taken out of context clip, and it had like thousands of likes on it. And so like that clip is still going around, and even with like people coming out to explain it and like explain the context of it, like it's gotten so big that like I don't know that the context being explained is ever gonna fix what happened, basically.
No, it's really unfortunate that that's how he explained it. But I don't think he deserves the pylon. I think like we can hold him accountable for not really understanding what he's actually making a show about, which is a little bit worrying. But I don't think it's really healthy to pile on to people to this extent. You can hold someone accountable without bullying them.
Well, that's gonna come into context later, that you can hold someone accountable without bullying them. That ties into another topic we have to discuss today.
Yeah.
In a different way.
In instances like this, where like, I guess someone has already apologized for something profusely and multiple times. I would like to know what more people want from them. Like, what do they want the outcome to be? Do they want them to not work in the industry anymore? Do they want them to die?
Unfortunately, like, I think people now have it in their mind that he is homophobic because of that taken out of context video. So now they're like, we want this homophobic person away from BL, basically. And so they want him to be, at the very least, out of the BL industry, I feel like, is what people are wanting. And who knows, it might end up happening
if fair.
No, I agree. I don't think like like you said, like he apologized profusely. There has been context that come out that explain like his intention was not to be homophobic towards gay sex or gay people. So, you know, it sucks that him being homophobic is now all that people are taking away from this situation, if that makes sense. I don't know. Well, speaking of things going viral on Twitter, the next topic I have is talking about a tweet that went viral on Thai Twitter earlier this week. And it was a tweet, essentially, a very negative tweet, essentially talking about patterns, I'm putting that in quotes for anyone who might be listening, that they're seeing with actors within Domundi, specifically talking about the femme presenting actors in their company, implying some negative things about like gender expression and stereotypes around femme men and femme queer people and things like that. And this tweet went viral in a bad way. Like, people were coming at this person and, you know, basically piling on them for being so stereotypical, having these like weird stereotypical assumptions, talking negatively about femme presenting people, which is a discussion that comes up often in relation to BL actors and the BL industry. Kayla has done a whole video on it as well. And Nanu responded to this via tweet, saying that he has spoken before about not limiting people within specific definitions or stereotypes, how it's good to discover different sides of yourself, how anyone can be cute or beautiful or handsome, how those words should be able to describe anyone without it implying something negative, essentially. And that expressing yourself differently isn't something that should be judged by others. He also talked about how he appreciates that Domundi as a company allows people to be their true selves, and how that is something that helps cultivate their actors to be better versions of themselves on screen and things like that. And then he kind of also talked about how it's, you know, everyone has a right to criticize, but if you're going to do that, it's good to actually know what you're talking about before you're just throwing assumptions out there. And then this happened on the same night as the WeTV showcase. So during the press conference, Namping was there because their show Magic Lover is going to be airing on WeTV, and he also addressed it during the WeTV showcase. He said a lot of similar things to what Nanu was expressing. Namping is kind of famous for having really good, what's the word I'm looking for? Public speaking. I think it's something he went to school for. He was a communications major. So, he always goes viral for basically, being able to put people in their place in a way that feels very, well-spoken and graceful. So, he basically, was advising people to start having media literacy and actually look into the relationships and the work and the skills that you're making assumptions and making presumptions about. And he's also spoken a lot before, including in this press conference discussion, about how he hopes Thai society can become a lot more open-minded to gender identity and self-expression, because he said it's still something that is an issue within their society, and that things like this tweet that went viral kind of speak to that still being an issue, that people still have these negative assumptions with femme gender expression, even within the queer community. And so he said issues like this can spark discussion on a societal level and also provide opportunities for progress and things like that. But he also was just kind of in the same way as Nanu was saying, if you're gonna bring up these topics, do some research into it before you just spew things that don't make sense and that affect people within the company, affect the company itself, affect actors and things like that on a larger level. And both him and Nanu kind of talked about how BL actors people who are labeled as BL actors are working really hard to prove themselves and not be confined by the label of BL actor and what stereotypes people have with that label, which kind of in the same way that like BL fans have certain stereotypes assigned to that label as a BL fan, like the actors struggle with the same thing and they work really hard to like prove those stereotypes to be wrong. So that kind of has been sparking this whole discussion on, I've mostly been seeing it on Twitter. I'm sure it's on other social media platforms as well, about relationship dynamics and ship dynamics and stuff like that. And Kayla, I know you said like this is kind of tied into people complaining about how Domundi is basically people think Domundi is trying to recreate Z and Nanu's dynamic with their other ships, essentially.
Yeah, so, yeah, there's this allegation that Domundi is trying to kind of recreate Z and Nanu's success by giving the other ships a similar dynamic. And by similar dynamic, they literally mean a dynamic that's like very classic BL, where you have one person who is like a smaller, more effeminate one, and then you have someone who is like the bigger, more masculine one. Just that very stereotypical BL pairing. This is really dumb to me because I look at the Domundi pairings and I see clear differences between all of them.
Yeah.
Like I don't think that any of them have the same ship dynamic. I don't think that any of them express themselves in terms of gender in the same exact way. Like I see the differences in all of them. So it's a little concerning and honestly does feel femphobic and also homophobic to kind of box them all in as Nunu clones essentially. But yeah, it's interesting. It's an interesting facet to this whole like copying Nunu thing basically. And I also think it's funny that like all of this started off with someone saying that Nunu copies PP, but now it's that everyone else copies Nunu.
Everyone else is copying Nunu.
Is it actually that everyone's copying PP? Like I don't understand the logic there, but yeah, I guess people just are under the assumption, some people, that Domundi is shilling out this assembly line of ships that have the stereotypically like feminine one and masculine one, and they're trying to profit off of that dynamic because it was really successful before. But I think generally it's really successful. I don't know, like that is just like a normal ship dynamic across all companies. So I don't really know. And again, I see differences in all the ships. I don't think any of them are similar to each
I
other.
was gonna say I think like Domundi has one of the like companies that have the most different ships in their arsenal of actors. Like I don't see them as like copy pasting their actors or ships at all. So I don't understand where this comes from at all. But people are gonna find something to complain about, especially with Domundi. Like people will just take something from the like sky and just like, oh, look at this, because they hate Domundi. That's just
Yeah, for me, it feels like these are people who literally have like looked at a picture of maybe one of these couples and assigned, okay, that's the femme one and that's the masc one.
Yeah.
Which again gets into a lot of homophobia and a lot of femmephobia, and like the way people assign these terms to these actors, like it just doesn't make sense to me. Because even if you could say, okay, Domundi has a lot of actors that are more femme presenting, like Nanu said, that speaks to a company that doesn't ask their actors to suppress their way of expressing themselves. And even so, that's not necessarily the case with all of their actors. And I don't see all of their actors fitting into like the mask top stereotype either. No. So it's just like a really weird thing for someone to pick up on, and like Nanu was saying, like claiming these patterns that if you look even just slightly below the surface, like don't really make sense.
Yeah.
And don't check out at all. And like, if you look into like the actual relationship dynamics, they're all so different. All of these ships are very different in the way they interact with each other and the way they act on screen and things like that. So it's just such a silly thing.
And can I just say that just having like a femme presenting and a masc presenting ship partners does not mean it's a good ship. Like, that's not what people look for when they enjoy a ship. Like, it's the chemistry that matters. It's not like if it was that easy to put together a ship, then like there would be millions of them.
Yeah, it's just like, I don't know, it's just such a like this weird assumption that like feminine presenting people are basically women light, and that makes them it's so interesting because like you were saying, like the mask big buff person and like the smaller more femme person is like a very popular BL dynamic, but at the same time there are so many people who are like, oh well, femme presenting men are basically women, so that invalidates BL. Like, I've been seeing that discussion in relation to this topic, and it's just, oh, it makes me so, once again we get into this place of like people who don't actually want to know about queerness in real life. And so these terms get used and these stereotypes get pushed on people, and they make assumptions about people in relation to wherever they formulated these stereotypes from that don't apply to real life, if that makes sense. And it's just always so frustrating to see that. And I'm like, you can be a straight BL fan, because I think this also comes back to the argument, like it also brings back in the argument that only straight women who don't care about the queer community watch BL, because that portion of the community can be really loud in these instances. It's like, you can be a straight person and also like put in the effort to be an ally and understand and care for the community. So I don't know, this gets into a whole bunch of discussions about fandom, I think, but it's just really frustrating to see this topic come up again and again. Like, I think Kayla, you even referenced that in your video, that like this is not the first time that this discussion has come up in the BL industry, and you made that video like a year ago. So it's like so many things within BL that like these same arguments just get recycled over and over again, and it's just so frustrating to watch.
Yeah, I think the part that honestly might annoy me the most is the misogyny of it all, because in these instances you always see the more effeminate actors, and I'm gonna put quotes on effeminate too, because people like people say that someone's effeminate or like they're masculine, and it just like it doesn't even fit. Like they misuse terms a lot, but they always target the effeminate one because I think they're misogynistic and they hate women. I think it's that they have either internalized misogyny or they just like look down on women, and they're associating that feminine energy with being a woman. So it's crazy.
Yep, 100%. Yeah, the misusage of terms, like I sometimes get these TikToks served to me that are like the most femme BL actors, and like some of the actors I see included in those, I'm just like,
how?
What? Yeah,
it's
just so...
and them trying to call some of these actors butch or something like that.
It's the same with like
honey.
People calling Milk butch, and I'm like, what are you talking about? Milk as a stone butch is still crazy to me.
Like, dude, I would love to see some butch character, like actors, actresses, but we haven't so far. Yeah. I do. It just comes down to people not understanding the community that they're watching media from. Like, I think like if you're enjoying BL, GL, QL, you should at least put some time into understanding the what you're watching and the issues within the community. But people are, obviously there are homophobic and misogynistic people watching BL. Like, we're not getting past that. And usually a lot of them can be really loud, so it sounds like it's a lot more than it is. But it's so frustrating to have this, like, especially on social media, that they use it as rage baiting, because that's what they want. They want their 5 seconds of fame, that everyone is talking about them or whatever they wrote. It's just pure rage bait. But it's like these are real, like, accusation against real people that affect their real lives. It's bullying. If it was rage bait that was just like, it didn't affect anyone, fine, do you? But these are actual people you're basically attacking. And yeah, it's not good.
Yeah.
I don't know what other stories you had, but I could talk about the possible PingNut divorce if anyone cares about that. I think this one's a little more brief. But yeah, some people think that the PingNut pairing might be on its way out, because there was an incident at the Pit Babe fan meet in Mexico, I believe, where the entire cast kind of gathered around for Ping's birthday, and they were singing him happy birthday. And Nut was like off to the side, just standing by himself, not really participating. So people were kind of like, what is going on here? There's some weird, like, disconnect here. And that sparked people to start attacking Nut online. They accused him of ignoring Ping. And, you know, Nut being the icon that he is, he doesn't tolerate anything. So he tweeted directly. Actually, he was responding directly to people, but his main tweet, I'm going to read it because it's really funny. He said, "If you don't know the truth, don't speak like you do. I know exactly what I'm doing, and I have every right to live my life the way I choose. I create my own work to bring joy to real fans, not to feed anyone's fantasy. So instead of wasting your time judging me, maybe go support your man, or better yet, fix your own life first."
Oh god, I love him.
Yeah, he also, like, shared a screenshot from Instagram of someone, like, criticizing him in the comments and him responding to that. But it's funny because it's like, you really think you're going to talk about Nut and you're going to be safe? No, you're not going to be. He's going to find you. There was also another incident that I just found out about that was, this is another recent one that occurred in Thailand, where they were at some event. I forget what the event was, but Ping and Nut did, like, one of those awkward, like, side hugs or, like, a half hug or whatever, and people kind of latched onto that too and were like, there must be tension between them or something, the bad kind of tension. I have a little bit of intel on this, not a lot, but of course, like, I follow the Pit Babe cast kind of regularly, and I know that there's always been a lot of fighting between the fans of the different ships, as with any company, honestly. But the Pit Babe stuff, or I guess I should say the change pairings, a lot of people think that they should have been paired up differently, and that's what causes a lot of the tension between them. Like, PingNut are not the only pairing that have gotten the "you're ignoring him" allegations, or like, you're not, like, spending enough time with him allegations. There's also a lot of tension between Michael and Top 10 fans and people who think that Top 10 should have been paired with Pop instead. So anytime Pop and Top 10 hang out together, everyone's like, see, he hates Michael. He shouldn't have been paired with Michael. And it kind of, like, it gives me that same energy of, like, you can open this to the broader discussion, because this is not the first time that we have seen fans kind of act like actors are not allowed to have friends, or, like, not allowed to hang out with someone who isn't their ship partner. I know this recently happened with some GMMTV actors too. I want to say Jung. Was Jung the one who clapped back at someone? There was someone recently that like clapped back because they were saying something very similar, like, oh, you're hanging out with them, you're not hanging out with him instead. So it's just like a very dumb parasocial thing where the fans are like, I don't know if they like think that the couple is real, or they just like want there to be more fan service between the couple, but it's just an ongoing thing. But this whole situation with Ping and Nut kind of reminded me of it in a way, even though I'm not sure that they actually have tension between them. That's just people's assumption, but yeah.
Yeah, every time this happens, that there's like this discourse of that they're not hanging out enough, or even on the other end that, oh, like they're people are commenting on, oh, they're taking pictures in the same house, oh, they're in the same house right now, they're sleeping in each other rooms or whatever, micro. I don't get it. They're actors, they're doing a job, leave them alone. Like, yeah. If they there's no expectations of them to be romantic outside of them acting in the show, and that's my issue with shipping culture. I just like, they have to have the acting on 24/7 because people are like micro analyzing everything, and it's just, it doesn't feel fair. But I understand that the companies also lean on it because that's what they like, it earns them more money because of fan meets and merch and whatever. But also I think like we should stop. We should stop shipping. Let's end all shipping, okay?
I think shipping is fine, but I think people, here's the thing, and I brought this up in multiple, this is the second episode I'm bringing this up in recently, but if you watched the Dan and Phil launch video, Dan actually had like very good commentary on this, how like, hey, ship if you want to ship, like people are gonna do that, but it's the boundaries that constantly get crossed that make it an issue. Yeah. And where I think the Thai BL industry specifically leans on those boundaries being crossed, like what you were saying. Like the industry as a whole almost encourages it because that's what sells, that's where the money comes from, and encouraging that boundary crossing is beneficial for the industry. So we've had this discussion so many times about how the whole root of the industry would have to change for this stuff to actually like take any root. But yeah, I just think it's so silly because the things that they're pooling as evidence that there's tension are such arbitrary things. Like there could be any reason that Nut was standing off to the side. Maybe he wasn't feeling that well. Maybe he wasn't feeling well that day. Maybe there was something else going on. An awkward side hug. I have awkward interactions with my best friends of 10 years. Like sometimes you just have an awkward moment with someone. Yeah. And hell, it happened to be caught on camera. So like, the reading into things, that's where like it can get frustrating, and it's like everything becomes an indication of something when like sometimes things just happen and there's no deeper meaning to them. And with the like, sometimes people just have friends and like
friends argue, partners argue, everyone argues. It's
so
like
it's just yeah, it's just silly. We have this discussion a lot, how like silly it is how deeply things can get read into when they don't necessarily have any deeper meaning, and they don't necessarily mean something nefarious is going on or some big fight is happening behind the scenes. Yeah. Sometimes it is. We've seen that be the truth, but not always, you know?
Yeah. I just don't understand what's the point of all of the speculation. Like, what do they want to happen with this?
I don't know.
Do they want Nut to come out and say, oh, the ship is over, bye-bye? Like, what do you want from this discussion? Like, why are we talking about this? What is the are we just gonna be mad? Is that what we want to do? We just want to be mad online? Is that it?
And you know what? Nut is the one that's being attacked. That says something once again. it's not Ping
Yeah.
that anyone is saying anything about. It's Nut. So do what you will with that information. But yeah, it's such a dumb thing. It's so dumb. But I just wanted to bring it up because it could be expanded into such a bigger conversation. This also reminds me of our episode that we did about BL actors dating, I think it was, and like how the fans reacted to it. So check that one out, I guess. We probably said stuff along the same lines as we are right now.
Yeah, definitely. I have two more things. One of them is kind of quick and just like a light way to finish out the show. But the other, like, I guess, big thing that I had to talk about, which by the time this comes out is probably going to be a little bit of older news. But there was the whole... I hesitate to use the word rant, but I can't think of a better way to describe it. Director New posted this big tweet in response to a lot of the online criticism he has gotten of his recent works, namely Revamp and Perfect 10-Liners was tied into it a little bit as well. We think the tweet has since been deleted because Kayla and I both went, I scrubbed through that man's Twitter and we could only find a translation of it on Reddit. But it was a long tweet with like a whole bunch of points. Essentially, he was addressing accusations of him not being open to criticism of his work, and how he never responds to criticisms about his projects. And for that reason, like, it doesn't seem like his projects ever change, which we have had discussions about Director New's work on here. We have our personal thoughts about the work.
Yes.
But he was specifically responding because he wanted to address the idea that criticism and toxic attacks on him are two different things.
Yeah.
And he was basically saying, I'm summarizing a long tweet, so if you want to go search, maybe I'll link the translation that we found on Reddit below so people can go read the full thing. It was like multiple paragraphs. But he was essentially saying, like, anyone who is constantly targeted by toxicity that's harmful towards them would choose to avoid it and not subject themselves to that harassment. And so he was essentially saying, like, a lot of the times he doesn't come on and respond to the things that people say about him because the harassment towards his character is so mixed in with criticism of the work that he does that he finds it hard to kind of basically navigate that. And he also addressed I don't know specifically who this is in regards to, but he addressed something saying that he would refuse to work with certain actors again. And he said this has nothing to do with the actors themselves, but the fact that he doesn't want to face the anger and attacks of certain fans again if he's not living up to their expectation. And he also said that he wants to avoid basically upsetting the artist's fans by, I'm trying to figure out how to word this, like, upsetting the artist fans for their sake. So he's saying, like, I'm choosing not to work with them because I don't want you to be upset that your faves have to work with me again, basically, if that makes sense. And, like, not subjecting the fans to having their faves work with him again because people don't like his work, if that makes sense. He said basically he's not deserving of the hateful comments towards him that extend beyond his work, and that his art being good or bad is not a reflection of him being right or wrong as a person. This had pretty mixed responses. Like, I've seen a lot of people rightfully saying that, like, I think New as a director does get a lot of, like, very harsh responses to his work. And, you know, there are a lot of things that are said about him that I do think it's fair to say extend beyond talking about his work. Like, people say things about him that extend beyond talking about what they like and don't like about his work. At the same time, like, people do make very valid criticisms of his work, and the fact that certain things never change and there are certain elements of his work that people have expressed criticisms of before that continue to show up in his projects. So
I think when Between Us came out, he also came out and said stuff about not like wanting sexual scenes in his shows, and really generalizing that. Again, like we've said, really harmful. He was sounding kind of like purist, which valid criticism towards him because of the things he said there. At the same time, like we said earlier when we were talking, bullying isn't bullying isn't a valid way to criticize someone. And usually bullying tends to stop growth because the person who's getting attacked will just shut down. They won't take anything in, and that's valid because I can't imagine like the anxiety you must have for social media and just in general for being attacked so much. I would shut everything out too, just for my own mental health. But because of that, bullying, the valid criticism isn't getting through.
Yeah, I think we've talked about this before, that social media, especially Twitter, like Twitter is a cesspool. Like that's the best way I can describe it. And being cruel towards people online has been so normalized, and we've even seen that touched on multiple of the other discussions we've had today on these topics. And so I mean, the way people talk about people on Twitter, like, and other social media, Twitter is not the only one, but I think this is where we see it the most severe. It's just like it's so wild because I think being online makes us forget that these are real people. And so I understand like not wanting to be online and subject yourself to cruel things that are being said to you. But yeah, I agree. I think because of that, like the actual constructive criticism that is in there is not being seen or taken into account.
At the same time, he's probably getting so much as well, and a criticism that is like working against each other from two different directions. So like we had this discussion with Only Friends because they said they were editing the episodes as the reactions from the fans came out, and it was like, no, don't you make your show, do not edit it to appease fans who will always find fault with your work. Just do your work and look at it critically later and think, okay, maybe I should have done this better. When you start trying to appease everyone, it's gonna be crap no matter how you look at it. So I mean, he needs to figure out things for himself. At the same time, yes, we can criticize, but I feel like a lot of the criticism, especially on Twitter, like you say, it's become like this demanding thing. Like, who are you not to listen to my criticism? And it's too forceful. And I don't think like New isn't a bad director. Like, he has good shows and he has things within even the shows that I think weren't that great in the end. There were parts that were really good. So it's not like I've seen a lot worse directors out there. So it's just not fair. Even though like I said, I have had issues with statements he's made about his progress of making shows and stuff and what he puts in them and stuff. But I don't think it's fair to go after him like that.
Yeah, I think, again, like all things in, I don't know if all things in moderation is the right phrase. Like, I understand having frustrations, like seeing the same issues pop up in show after show after show that are frustrating to watch, and especially in revamp. Like, go to our Patreon and watch our recaps if you really want us to get into it. But I can understand why fans felt a lot of frustration watching the final product of that show, and seeing like these same criticisms pop up to maybe even a higher degree than in past projects. And of course there's multiple hands that go into that. We've talked about the production process of how these shows are made and how that's so detrimental to the quality. So I understand the fans' frustration, but yeah, it's like there's gotta be constructive. It's constructive criticism. There's gotta be a constructive way to get it across, and I think that's where a lot of the times, like, these online spaces don't promote constructive criticism. Like, that's not what they want, if that makes sense. That's not what the environments foster, and I think that's where things get really messy.
I think people shouldn't demand change or put their criticism out there on social media platforms like Twitter. I just think it's such an unhealthy way to have a discussion. Usually I can't remember having like a productive discussion on Twitter ever. There has to be better ways to have these discussions, and yeah. At
the same time, like, it is a fandom space, and for some people they don't have other places to go to express their feelings about a show.
But that's fine if you're discussion amongst yourself, but these people are directly going at the director. Like, they're not keeping it within the fandom. They're attacking someone, basically.
I think that, like, if you can do it respectfully, I don't see a problem with, like, expressing expressing criticism on social media. I don't think you should be, like, spamming someone's mentions and being like, you suck at this, and this. But I think, you know, that's a space you have to express your feelings about things. Like, I think it's fair to, like, put that out there to companies and directors, but it's, again, that level of respect that I think gets lost in these spaces. And so, especially on Elon's Twitter, like, especially on Twitter as it exists now,
it was bad before really hard. Elon. After, it's been like a cesspool. Like, I have not been on Twitter for years.
I also want to say that if his mental health is, like, so affected by people's criticism, then he should get offline. I feel the same way about Offshin from Domundi, because they both do this thing that drives me crazy, where
the Twitter rants,
where they do these long Twitter rants. It's never received well. It makes people even madder at them, and I'm like, you guys need to just not say anything ever. You need to delete your account. You need to not be a public figure and just, like, do your work. Because, like, it seems like it really, really, for example, it's really getting to New. Like, obviously it would, hearing so many people criticize his work all the time. That would get to anybody. But I think that he, like, really has a hard time dealing with it. I think there is also some, like, stubbornness in there, too. Kind of like what you said, where he hears all this criticism, so he shuts down, and he's like, well... I'm not going to change. I'm not going to do things the way I do. But there's also, like, an element of, like, self-flagellation in there, where he's like, well, you guys hate me anyway. All you fandoms hate me anyway, which kind of drives me crazy too, because I'm like, you just say that, like,
that doesn't
you're
have to be the
upset
case.
That people didn't like your show, dude.
I
don't know.
I mean,
the rants go too far sometimes.
It's a very passive-aggressive way to, like, get a message out there. I don't understand, but I do understand why he said it. He gets into a place where he's trying to, like, protect himself, and he feels like he has to take it out there. I mean, we're humans. Like, everyone has had this feeling of when people are talking about you online, it's not a great feeling. And I understand where that anxiety comes from and the need to speak up. at the same time, like Kayla said, like he should just, if he can't go past it, he should just not be on Twitter.
Yeah.
It's sad that we're at that part. Like it shouldn't be like that. It shouldn't be like that. But with how the internet is, his mental health should come first.
And that might also work out better for the work he's trying to make, you know, if he's
just focus
prioritizing
on the
his mental health and focusing on the work and, you know, putting whatever energy he's putting into defending himself online, which obviously, you know, there's a lot that goes into that, but maybe that improvement to his mental health could improve other aspects where the valid criticisms come into play with the work that he's doing. So
yeah, I think like if he just focused on his work more than what everyone is saying around him, he would probably notice the same thing everyone is noticing. But I think like he's created like this shell around him that he just needs to protect his mind, so he ends up in a way that, like, I'm talking from experience here, just to protect himself. He's just not okay, has to say to himself like, okay, it's not right, I'm doing great, just ignore the haters, and then there's no growth. So yeah, I think he would have, like, everything would work better for him if he just wasn't on social media.
Yeah, and then there's also the element of, we touched on this in our final recaps for Revamp, but I personally think that he is under a lot of pressure from the higher-ups at GMMTV to stick to deadlines and to make deadlines, and I think that also plays a big role in affecting his work and his directing and what he's able to do, as well as like all the other creative behind the scenes people working on these shows. Like, there's a show coming out all the time. There's a show in production all the time, and they want to stick to this schedule. And I think he might be struggling. I think a lot of the people in GMMTV on the production side are struggling to kind of make these really clear, concise shows. Like, we see it kind of affecting the quality of the shows in the end.
I also think new takes, and I don't know if, like you said, this could also be part of this timeline from the GMMTV higher-ups that force this, but it takes on so many projects at once. Like, he is currently directing Head to Head, My Romance Scammer, and Forever You Part 2. That's 3 different projects at the same time, and this is not the only time where he's been working on multiple projects at once. 2 of those are GMMTV shows. The other one is the Wabi Sabi production. So it's like, that can't, and again, like, I think the timelines that these companies want to keep play into that as well, but that's not helpful for correcting any of these criticisms that are coming to your work. By, like, that can't be easy to work on 3 different projects at the same time. So yeah.
And also, I will say this, like, he's the director, but he's not the only one that's making that show.
Yeah.
So just criticizing him for things when there's a lot of other people involved is strange to me, because he does have shows that are really good and shows that are not so great. Like, maybe he got the wrong advice. Who knows? So yeah, I just like the moral of the story: stop bullying people.
Moral of the story.
Well, we've talked about a lot of like really intense stuff today, so I just kind of wanted to round out on a more positive note, talking about some of the upcoming projects that people have to look forward to, because both WeTV and iQiyi had their 2026 showcases this past week. So there's a lot of new stuff to look forward to. So I just, focusing on some of the highlights, I skipped I'm skipping a lot of the stuff about shows that were previously announced that people have already known about and things like that. But just talking about some of the new stuff that was announced. With WeTV, one of their big things is that they said that they want to be basically on the forefront of cultivating GL in Asia. And they stated they will release no less than 8 GL projects a year. At their recent showcase, the ones they actually announced were special episodes for their previous series, Denied Love, a show called Frozen Valentine, and a new project with the couple from Denied Love called Love on Hire. So they're really trying to get in on the GL market. They also announced a Korean BL called Never Forget Your Enemy from the creators of Love for Love's Sake, which I was really excited to see.
Nice.
They're promoting it as the first deeply intimate Korean BL series, aka the first 19 plus Korean BL series. So I'm not
Okay, that worries me a little bit.
Yeah, it was like that's
Interesting.
I wasn't sure what to make of that. But at the same time I was like, oh, the creators of Love for Love's Sake. So
Yeah, Love for Love's Sake.
we'll
was
see what that
great.
ends up being. But so they're also, venturing into the Korean BL market. Fort Pete's new series that they're producing outside of Me Mind Why is going to be on WeTV. I watched the pilot trailer and all I remember from it was Pete's character was like chaining Fort's character up a la how Ming kidnapped Joe in My Standing. And I don't it was giving very like soap opera. Like it's very dramatic. Also co-produced by Tri Creation, who the last time we saw that name was with My Engineer. So that was a name I hadn't seen in a while. The other thing I wanted to note with WeTV, which I thought was very interesting, is that Domundi's show Magic Lover is going to be on WeTV. And that's their only project that's going to be on WeTV. Every other show they're releasing next year is going to be on iQiyi. So I just thought it was really interesting, and it makes me wonder what made them land on WeTV for this project, or if WeTV just put in a really good bid for that project specifically. But I thought it was an interesting choice that they were going for WeTV when Domundi historically basically puts all of their shows on iQiyi. So don't know what that means, but yeah. I'm excited for that one, so hopefully WeTV is a good home for it. With iQiyi, some of the notable announcements that happened there, Mossbank are starring in a new iQiyi original called Identity Zero with Bonds and Mark, who historically work with Yinwar and their company. It was announced in conjunction with iQiyi moving into artist management, and Mossbank are now artists under iQiyi's artist management. So it seems like they might no longer be working with or associated with Star Hunter, because they've updated their Instagram contacts for work to now reflect iQiyi. So
that is interesting. They were like the golden boys of Star Hunter.
They were Star Hunter's main pairing, at least on the BL front. I know they have Lukao and Anda as like their primary GL pairing. Mossbank also had a couple of projects with Star Hunter that were supposedly still in the works that I'm not sure what that means for them now, but that seems to be their new artist home. So it'll be interesting to see what that means for them. iQiyi will also be hosting the new Copy A Bangkok series, which I don't know if this is actually a Playboy spinoff or if they just are converting all of the Playboy accounts to be for this show. But it's called Peach Lover. One of the leads is Poom, who was recently in that Idol Factory BL with Saint. He was the one who starred opposite of Saint in that BL that he did recently that I don't know the name of.
He's cute. The show was not.
Yeah. And one of the other actors featured was Vin, who was in the secondary couple in Step by Step. Not the long-haired one, but he was the other person in the secondary couple in Step by Step. So that's called Peach Lover. If you look at the Playboy social media, it's now all been converted to Peach Lover social media. So
That's interesting.
that's their next project.
They probably want to capitalize on the followers and everything.
Yeah, they already
Playboy.
have the following on that account. Me Mind Y is also announcing another series through iQiyi called Lust, not starring any of their current actors, but starring Korn Palat, who was in Playboy, so someone from the Playboy cast, and an actor called Donut Patarapan. People were upset because it's not Boss Noel or the other Me Mind Y couple, Fourth and Donut, who just left the company. So people were like, why didn't you give them this project, et cetera, et cetera. And they haven't announced a new Boss Noel project, so people are a little bit unhappy with Me Mind Y right now. But that's their new project they've announced. They're also producing a GL at the moment, so. And then iQiyi also bought the IPs for a lot of popular Chinese BL novels. So one of them is called Number One Student, and the other one is a group of novels called 188 Group. It's the works of the author of the novel from My Stand-In, Personal Body Double, is that what the novel's called? I can't remember. But it's the author of the My Stand-In novel, and 188 Group refers to 11 of her works where all of the tops are 188 centimeters tall. So that's why they're called her 188 Group novels.
That is wild. Wild.
The My Stand-In novel is within this universe from what I saw. So I don't know if they're going to adapt all 10 of the other works or if they're just going to pick and choose. But they bought the IP for all of those projects. So those were the like significant, big, new items that people were talking about. Both of these showcases also discuss like previous projects that were already known to be on those networks. Like I said, every other Domundi show is going to be on iQiyi next year. So we already kind of figured that. And some of these other shows that were already announced to be on these networks were talked about at the showcases as well. But it seems like both of these companies, especially iQiyi, are really, really moving into wanting to be bigger in the BL market, like especially with iQiyi moving into artist management as well. And then WeTV seems to want to be kind of taking on the GL market, which it is nice to see a company really wanting to build up GL and kind of put focus there, because we don't see many other companies devoting as much to GL yet, aside from like these smaller one-off companies. But I guess we'll see. These are all for 2026, so we'll have to see how things go in terms of production and when things get released. But it's going to be another year of way too much BL for anyone to keep up with.
Track off? Yeah.
Yeah. I will say I am excited to see what's going on with the new Moss Bank show, because I haven't liked the other ones that they've been in, to be honest. But I really love Moss and Bank as like people and actors. So I'm wondering if maybe they're working with a different company. They have different writers and resources that maybe the show will, maybe it'll hit for me this time. I really hope so.
I hope so. Yeah. And also Bonds and Mark. Obviously,
Mark.
Bonds was previously paired with that other guy who was in their company who turned out to be a really shitty person and got kicked out, and I can't think of his name right now. But I've been kind of thinking they were quiet launching Bonds and Mark as a pairing, and that does seem to be what's happening if they're going to be the second couple in this show. So I hope that one's good. I would really love to like a Moss Bank show, because I agree, like I really do enjoy them as people. So hopefully iQiyi's budget at the very least will give them something a little bit more than what we've seen from their previous projects. But yeah, we'll see. Otherwise, I don't think that's pretty much all. I mean, we've been talking for almost an hour and 40 minutes at this point, so I figured this would be a long one. There was a lot to get into. It's our last catching up with the BL fandom of 2025, so we really had to go all out with this one. But let us know your thoughts on the different topics that we discussed today, what feelings you have on some of the things that have happened in BL recently and the fans' reactions to them. And let us know what you're looking forward to from these WeTV and iQiyi showcases in 2026. Obviously, GMMTV Showcase will be coming soon, and that'll be its whole separate entity. But let us know what you're looking forward to from some of these other networks that are really trying to build up space in the BL genre. But otherwise, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. Those are all the things that really help push our work out to the algorithm and get more eyes on these podcast episodes. You can also check out our social media and our Patreon down in the description. Like I said, we did recap all 10 episodes of Revamp. We had a lot of thoughts there. That's on Patreon if you're interested. We also have reviews and exclusive interview content and all that fun stuff. And it's a great way to support the show if that's something you're interested in doing. But that is all for this episode, and we will see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.